Rapunzel Akbar. Long hair, hip-hop, Kabul reports. Jail for lewdly selling ice cream to girls. Homeland Security is a comic book serial, not yet a graphic novel based on a screenplay. The top of the hour is the bottom of the barrel. On this 4th of July, the news is on repeat, and I feel like a fool. Minimum wages are rising across. Car bombs are multiplying across. Gas lines in the Levant. She mouthlessly pleads for fuel. The whole planet watches Jerry Springer and Maury Povich on satellite TV and sympathizes with the Taliban. Holiday in Cambodia is or is not a gap-fill sing-along around the barrel fire folk song. I don't feel vengeful, just sleepy. No note was left, which is part of her story. The closeted mortician's daughter dusts caskets and comes out, grows up to be a professional lesbian, just telling her story. C.B. DeMille in Sunset Boulevard, or Dick Cheney on Pennsylvania Avenue. A homophobic transsexual calls in with a question. We put our dogs down with more humanity. A second bomb for the crowd. What right? You want me to tell you? What right? Saw a face in the grain. Here God is an investment banker. Here grace, unequally distributed, is the mirage of karma. Taking pictures in my dream. Now she is nothing in my camera. No film to prove she was with me. By default, an email account is deactivated while Kuwaiti women vote from the back of the room. Remember the Persians. Here come the Persians. Diaspora women of Iran are writing books about themselves. The first names of women interning in nonprofit organizations. The last names of the first families to live in any house in the city. sudden panic death. Caught between bed rails and mattress. The doping scandal in the war on drugs. The scandal of dupes in the war on terror. I am not at war. Is everyone at war? The repetition of wartime, even on NPR. Time is an issue of legitimate public concern in a climate of great secrecy. This is a story you would not want to get wrong. Another grassy knoll. The government fell at the speed of a free-falling object into its own footprint. Every spine shattered together. After the ash, the freedom puppet dug for gold. Crashby Station News. Two 500-pound bombs and his body is identified by fingerprints. Key posts filled in Iraqi cabinet. World financial markets, volcano like Indonesia. The United Arab Emirates sends relief. Wall along the Rio Grande. She moved to Los Angeles and speaks Farsi, Persian miniatures of the Prophet. Never puts her name on any list as long as she thinks they know what she thought. In a car at a busy market, scars and tattoos, his portrait on a pike at every gate. Wall along the Jordan. Walmart pays better than state prison. Remember to send Alcatraz postcard to former co-worker in Muscat. Chinese slums powered by green technology will seize what the party becomes. Procreate the revolt. My living cost rose a fraction of a percent. I can't feel it yet. Briefcases of democracy arrive in Ramallah. I'm having a summer of drugs in San Francisco. Palestinian bureaucrats tour both the Arabian Gulf and the Persian Gulf, putting money in their Chicago holsters. This is not suicide bribery. This is back pay for clerks. Bread, not bullets. World peace begins at home in Gaza, the international home of bullets and babies. Call her an inmate in the kitchen cubing carrots who ends up washing dishes before the fires. The oil began to burn, became smoke and flame, seed that will not be planted. The planet exfoliates headlines, frame by frame. I pay the price for supermarket meat by studying Tuscan. I have a reason to live because they want me to die. A last goodbye to laughing ass, says my soul. Under World Wide Web, bidding up stock in life while the cost of living it is not known. Body revolve. A star is born, billions now on Earth. Photographs on her refrigerator. It is I who am living in my world. Brilliance. Who is that knocking at my door at this hour? Once I answered with guitars. I will again. This is not the life lived in or the world lived in that I imagined I would. And aside with the author, please. Can you help me? You can, because you're here. I think of you thickly. Behold the mind of man. It is tempting to close my eyes. The cats are kind. Each keyboard player is the sacrificial undead. There must be somebody I can fake my way into the big time past. While driving, my onboard DJ, now 19, keeps me informed. Listening to music is doing, is intention, is active will, of concentration, of alert relaxation, a meditative devotion, a devotional meditation, burning carbohydrates quietly. It was the age of the instrumental break that couldn't be whistled or hummed. I wrote a serial poem called Bass Player. The rope of lineage frayed in snare threads, I entangled myself. Once upon a time, in the same week, I attended a spoken word performance, a performance art piece, a tragicomic monologue, a poetry reading, and other written works staged and was confused. She has died. And for him, there is nothing left of her but her drugs. After a year, even the drugs couldn't replace her. Nights and days are spent coding for a new game. Great battles of the Bible. bloody OT swordplay and visionary jihad with Jesus Christ. That name, is it stealth or is it just lame? It sounds like recess at Sunday school. Add a third layer and just call it jihad. Is this computer game a tool of Satan because the scenarios are open to historical revisionism? As Goliath defeats David? Or Jesus fights back along the stations of the cross? Or Muhammad loses decisive battles with the Meccan pagans and Arabian Jews? What then? Play on? Yes. Or press the God button on the handset whenever scripture is about to be changed by the outcome of a game, or a game can be set to default to a preordained, predestined fate that miraculously comes to pass in retrospect. I wish that music in my life to pass, so I press the button. This is not my house, but I live in its photographs, looking for myself, and I'm not home. This has been a shitty year. I am defecating into the future. Now that home seems like a foreign country to me, I can feel how nice it would be to live here. But is Jesus such the happy ending? Where is English common law in Chinatown? I am not that male model in a woman's world of skin. Spectacle of the prophets of Fallopolis. Not shining, but speaking. Say, I am no more than a human like you, being inspired that I and my Father in heaven are one. Or, bring me the head of Gibran Khalil Gibran. Al-Mustafa will bear it disinterred through the streets and parks of Syria and Lebanon that bear his name. Bring me the head of Fairlin Getty even. Climbing down sometime during eternity is too much. Taught truth to be seen by obscene eyes. Say, I am no more than a human like you. I eat meat. I smell perfume. I enter women. Say, I am but a man. Come into a woman and sins like autumn leaves will fall from the tree. Where is woman the black stone? Or into our eyes like specks, like beams? Straw men fan flames if they only had a brain. Kill me a cartoonist, for I fear your mirror in my newspaper. Mel Gibson filmed this flashback without dialogue from ground level with backlight. A rock-hard lesson, little learned but corrected in the Quran's contradiction that put biblical stones back into the hands of those not without sin. Not that anybody ever put them down. no shining example. No beacon in the dark. No fantasy of psychedelic berries. Waving a banner headline. No photo, but phonographing God. Infinite coordinates with an axis that is everywhere at once. And this speaks? What sound light makes? A human animal recounts falsehoods as if true ribaldry in the three voices of amiable doom. This disordered speech is as cyclic as the moon as it introduces the central Eucharist. Foot soldiers can't speak for themselves, so Fantoccini pantomime the unspeakable name of God. Predict a drearily commonplace illusion by denial. Summon to banish. Proclaim to curse. Interpret a futile call to arms as divine inspiration, like announcing in church the intended marriage of power deserted, power forsaken, with power recklessly unrestrained. Inhibitions surrendered. Goods smuggled from paradise by a flock of peacocks. Boon requested, prayers answered. The declared outlaw has a bee in his bonnet to help his neighbor farmers and give extra service to his lord. Noted rumor reports him to use auspicious words notoriously. Non-referential speech sounds. Sounds received. Sounds emitted. Symbols made of the slightest utterance distinguishing meaning. News spreads. Sacred compositions are sung in response, voiced in return, sounded as answers, voiceless, slanderous, brain-damaging revelations like complex sonatas, harmonies of sound and color that are disagreeable, discordant, and sometimes just sound bad. Admit it. Affirm it openly. Disclose the sin. Make known the faith. Vow. Speaking the speech of unknown meaning, claiming not the rights or attributes of God, but simply soothsay. Say what? My prophetess is Tiffany, who appears as a bramble with brightly colored fruit. She may be a phantom in disguise, but she makes me a sign of a sash I wear in the buff. When my life is an ocean, she is my buoy that phosphoresces. When I am the boy in her ocean phosphorescing. Nothing is as it appears to be in this world that is nothing but appearances and witty sayings that prove nothing. Like I said this morning, I want a Danish with my coffee. God damn it. Howl has been written. New sentences are old news. Now that Dylan's been done, a new day will never dawn on Nirvana manias. Or buy into language shares at God's Souks. The eternally recurring Elvis is gone for good, regardless of wishing she were black. Madonna revamps. The dead are dead. Check the red sauce. Debit the wobbly loss. Philologists philosophize the heavy price of reference. Rappist monks do time for forced rhyme. Jesse Jameson, the great brain robbery in a leotard, was mean to my call to evening prayer for paradise. On the Frodo ringtone. Hello? Is everybody here? Reversed charges from tomorrow. Lose the next line. It is after late. Tattoo that moves, you assign a signified history, blistering my eye, thar's the rubber anti-history. Storm blows, knows what the cat dragon, should I say? No, not for all the ghee in India, would I? Put on your puddle stompers. There's temptation in a teapot brewing that thinks itself a good idea for us to ride. As we slip, we slide down the hill in the blood of the poets that we kill. Stop the or icing on doo-doo now and then. We were pretty vacant when the postmodern presidency and the politics of indeterminacy came knocking on us wooden heads, and we said, come on in and create your own reality. For us, hot and cold, running away, float your own boaters up shit creek without some truth. Extremism in defense of liberty is served with rice. Methods generate, shun should be friends. The future sound of Vodun. The butcher, south of Beirut, cuts facts on the ground. A fox in a satellite henhouse. Facts like feathers on its face. Poetry in motion. Get smart as in 9 days wonders, or else Nineveh. Present day Iraq. Niobe. Suicide diplomas strapped on, too cool for school, 3rd degree masters, open mics, acid attacks, burn, babies, burn. Merry Christmas. War is over. Satan's claws are turning to clowns. I saw mommy kissing Antichrist underneath the missiles bursting bright. A thesis like a Missile East cease project, busting bunker mentality. Tea time with Ali in a rent-free safe house. Prismatic schisms excreate the waste of every digested word. A torrent of water writes me a river. The music is played like it has somewhere to go. Do we ever get there with the band? The destination suspended for a swerve merge with a song then fed back somewhere else before together now and out. Will they get there first and ditch us on the way back to the chorus? It's a back and forth river. Having some place to go and going on there is music's only some place to be. Our love triangle. You're singing my song. This dance is about architecture. Shivering timbers and below my house. The beat held begins to sway and turn today. This scene from my fake book will change me forever. Songs in the key of strife. 21 rifles shooting blanks at God high up in heaven. No green giant falls down a beanstalk. It is the gesture that counts. Having lost its original riff, even way back to that riff without its hook, the rifles turn on one another. It's not a pretty sight, but the sound remains the same. Respirating portions of Old Testament. Off guard, I sneeze hard. Flash fill my sinuses with floral fragrance shaken loose. Like electrochemical confetti from my synapses. My nose twitches and I sneeze and the flowers bloom and die in my face. With all the mucus I can't say if any gunpowder is in the haze. Flipping sides? How many you got? My solo album is out. My face forgets itself in a novel group where each face is a side one of many. I'll play whatever to get the music playing again. History may depend on me. A warm, bright patch. The sun breaks through June on the California coast. New disc. Negative Land, last night, was a religious experience. I closed my eyes and I believed. Meet me here again. This song is the place to live. I'll go wherever it goes. Different parts of me are opening. This song is just music too that goes on forever in certain directions from time to time. I am living it in my head. Not this song. I hate this song. This song. I'm getting somewhere now. I like living here. Its pure and flawless muscles contract and relax. Sound is spacing out all around me. I'll learn to love that fear. Without love, time passes with drugs in San Francisco. Seeing the radio world from a sublet looking out the window at Glen Park along the 24 line. The threshold of separation endangers every beginning. Belief blanket, safety quilt, spontaneous combustion hatches. State secrets overruled. Still plundering Africa. Ingest. Speak out. Learn to load an AK-47, which is the safety switch to avert America. A new has-been was nailed to guitar necks in a teen magazine for bumping the needle. Pop goes history when a scratch was a scratch and not speech. written in response to a subliminal infusion of the band Fire Hose. This drum tries dripping from my ear when I lean or hold my head bird-like. The slapping skin clings yet pulls the drip that won't drop from the faucet. Well, I am glad. My ears mean something to me. All those years, I could never be her fountain. All those years later, everything that had been coming on since the beginning. For everyone who sings, we have the finest automobiles. If you can't drive, you'll be driven. Assuming control and creating your space in the music, I suggest walking as I do all around town. Here is a citizenry of eye contact whose masses eagerly await you see the sound you make. That sewer is a creek beneath the street. Smell of leaves that white water down the car wash gutter rush. Splashes below the manhole cover. Watch your step. Keep your eyes on those million gorgeous grins after nightfall. Greenhouse Effect Coffee Shop. I'm in the baseline while everybody is watching. The last few I slipped down, steepest stairs in the world are Amsterdam's. 1001 Arabian Nights is my room above the greenhouse effect. 4 women walk through the front door, my age. Cider in the coffee shop. Seated at the threshold, I see the first looks. Direct action. Boundaries on bodies assigned to guide the affair. Sun unswerving against stars, alert and wide awake, removes the errors from the patterns in power. Eerie other speech realm currency, impurities sink to the bottom of the crucible. Ruled by representations and a king to kill. Dominion wife, ransacking abundance, revives butterfly light. Straight pieces of wood separate lines of type. Fast 4-beat gait. Faces that are congruent lay the tracks. Meshing tooth machines, antlers in anguish, livestock feeding and frameworks of torture. Mass of thin clouds, draining from the stems and husks of sleep. Flagrant fertility, arranged recounting of thought as being. Chanted supplication proposed to the people to accept or reject by foreign courts authorized to do away with the law. Labors exacted for little or no pay, maintain feudal roadways in the presence of asking. Exclusive rights and natural gifts postpone the parliament instead of another substitute. Aroused with words, swarm of bees in the balance of health, immoderate beating with clubs. A ship led by a plan, grinding coarse particles to walk across the water. Bent knees and hams on heels, stand with weights across the back of shoulders. Eluding afterlives. Other muscles of ancient contest. Blood sugar slipping into sleep. Dissonant intervals separates first contender to dialogue with the chorus. To February 89. A good morning and dark as coffee. I got out of bed before 7. UN airlifting food from Islamabad to Kabul, where Afghans fight over loaves. Countryside sunrise over minefields. When a mistake kills so many people, it's terrible, says a Red Army wife. Kentucky boys die in ice water. The fishing has been great in the northern states. 25 years ago today, the Beatles arrived at Kennedy Airport. 22 July 89. I'm not sure where I am when I get this telepathic message and walk away from who I'm with and what I'm doing. I can hear it in my spleen and am sure it is from her sister, whom I've never met. Second story south-facing Tropicana apartments. Outdoor hallway, I walk down toward the stairs and down to Arcata Speed Wash, then step onto a patio with a desk and chair. The other workers are indoors working, but this woman is an individualist who set up her office in the open air. I think it is she who called me, but by her looks, she is someone else, someone I know. Over her desk, we converse with a sexual tinge. Then she leans back in her chair, lifts her shirt, showing me her scarred belly, gouged with cuneiforms, and fires random melting. Now with you. Now with you is like being alone, only more so. Now with you is like conversing with nothing left to say. Now with you, not able to see outside more than you could, not before. Now with you is less different than without, and I am even more so as I was before. Signs. Look, I'm a Libra, you say, when I am most Piscean, pissing you off. We walk, make a date, promise not to argue. About what? I don't know. You insist on fundamental accuracy, while the decay of language is my subject. Not the flow of bodies free as capital, the supersedence of the nation state, our nightmare of democracy. Globalization is a dirty word only because its misuse is pus on those tongues lapping the minted sluts. The information superhighway is the opiate of the masses who dream of finding love, while the means of production are seized in foreclosure. only want to move and shake you sexually. I look cool when I knock, but churn while waiting for your answer. I breathe again from a brief kiss behind the door you close behind me. There are spies you fear in our compounded institution of higher learning. Even with armed guards, I swim anywhere in our pond, much too small, you say, for satire. Yes, I piss off the people who love me, and the people who don't say I'm an expatriate racist. So little of our planet is land. Let me swim and sleep with you without ideology. This is Jeff Kelly on the guitar. This is Art Brown on the other guitar. Xiaowei Wu on the bass. Mark Weston, percussion. So thanks a lot for coming, and have a beer, buy a book, have some dinner.
Thank you.
See you later.